The United Earth Flagship, Endurance, cut through the black emptiness of space like a silver knife. It was the biggest and strongest ship humans had ever built. Long and sleek, with thick armor plates and rows of glowing engines at the back. It carried over 1,000 crew members. At its front sat the wide bridge, full of screens and controls. Behind it stretched long hallways, engine rooms, weapon bays, and living quarters where people ate, slept, and dreamed of home. Captain John Harris stood on the bridge. He was a tall man with short gray hair and calm blue eyes. He had led many missions before, but this one felt different. They were exploring far beyond normal human space, looking for new worlds and possible friends among the stars. John liked to say that humans were built to push forward, no matter what. Next to him stood Executive Officer Lisa Morales. She was quick and smart, always watching the screens. Her dark hair was tied back tight. She handled the day-to-day orders so the captain could focus on big decisions. "Status report," John said in a steady voice. Lisa checked her panel. "All systems green, sir. Engines at full power. We're on course. No contacts on sensors." Navigator Daniel Lee sat at his station, fingers moving fast over the controls. He was young, with a bright smile that he used even when things got hard. "ETA to the next system is 6 hours, Captain." Weapons Officer Amanda Foster leaned back in her chair. She had short red hair and a sharp look. "All batteries charged and ready. If anything jumps out, we'll give it a warm welcome." Down in engineering, Chief Engineer Robert Klein wiped sweat from his face. The engine room was hot and loud, full of humming machines and pipes. Robert was a big man with strong hands. He loved the ship like it was his own child. "Everything's purring like a cat," he told his team over the comm. "Keep her happy, folks." Security Chief Karen Brooks walked the corridors with her Marines. She was tough and direct, with short brown hair and a no-nonsense stare. Her team carried rifles and wore light armor. They trained every day, just in case. The Endurance was not alone. 2 smaller support ships flew close by, ready to help if needed. Everyone felt safe. Space was big and empty. What could go wrong? Then the alarms screamed. Red lights flashed across the bridge. Sensors lit up with hundreds of contacts. "Incoming fleet," Daniel shouted. "Massive signatures. They're closing fast." John gripped the arm of his chair. "Shields up. Sound battle stations. Lisa, get me a scan." The main screen showed the truth. A huge alien armada appeared out of nowhere. The ships looked wrong, twisted, like giant bugs made of metal and bone. Sharp legs and claws stuck out from dark hulls. Glowing red eyes stared from sensor arrays. These were the Vexari, though no one knew their name yet. The aliens did not talk. They attacked. Bright beams of green energy shot across space. The first volley hit the 2 support ships. Explosions bloomed like flowers of fire. One ship broke in half. The other spun away, leaking air and debris. "They're targeting us," Amanda yelled. She slammed her hand on the fire controls. The Endurance answered with its own weapons. Long streaks of white plasma lanced out. Some shots hit alien ships, cracking their armor. But there were too many enemies. More beams struck the flagship. The ship shook hard. Lights flickered. A loud bang came from the bow as armor plates tore open. "Bridge hit," someone cried. Sparks flew. Consoles exploded. Smoke filled the air. John felt pain in his side. Something sharp had cut him, but he stayed on his feet. "Lisa," he called. Lisa was on the floor, blood on her face, but she pushed herself up. "I'm okay. Damage reports coming in." The voice from engineering sounded broken. "Main engines offline. Power failing on decks 3 through 7. Hull breaches everywhere." John looked at the screen. The Vexari ships surrounded them now. Boarding pods, long spiked tubes, shot toward the Endurance. They slammed into the hull and started cutting in. "Marines to breach points," Karen's voice crackled over comms. "Hold the line. Explosions rocked the ship again. The bridge tilted. Gravity flickered for a second, making everyone float before it came back. John tasted blood in his mouth. He saw crew members lying still. Others ran to help. The air smelled of burnt metal and fear. On the main view screen, the biggest alien ship loomed close. It was massive, like a living mountain of claws and lights. A final huge beam struck the Endurance, right in the middle. The ship screamed. Metal groaned and tore. Lights died across whole sections. Emergency red glow took over. "Abandon," someone started. But John cut them off. "No," he said firmly. "We fight. Seal bulkheads. Conserve power. Go silent where you can. We are not done." The aliens stopped firing. Their sensors swept the wreck. They saw the broken ship, the fires, the drifting bodies and debris. They thought it was over. Small salvage craft moved in to pick at the corpse. But inside the Endurance, people still breathed. In a dark corridor, Robert Klein crawled from under a fallen beam. His left arm hurt bad, but he ignored it. He found a working panel and rerouted what power he could to life support. "Come on, girl," he whispered to the ship. "Stay with me." Karen Brooks and her Marines sealed a section. They heard scratching as aliens tried to cut through a door. Karen raised her rifle. "Not today," she said. Lisa helped John to a side room, away from the broken bridge. He leaned against the wall, breathing hard. "How many left?" he asked. "Hard to say," Lisa answered. "Maybe 200. Scattered, but alive." John nodded slowly. Pain made his vision blurry, but his mind was clear. "Then we make them pay for every inch. 9 days, a week, whatever it takes. We show them humans don't quit." He looked at the faces around him, tired, hurt, but not broken. Daniel patched a wound on his leg. Amanda checked her sidearm. Robert's voice came over calm and strong. "Power at 10%, but we've got air for now." John took a deep breath. "This is Captain Harris. To all survivors, stay low, stay smart. We are the Endurance. We endure. The fight is not over." Outside, the alien fleet waited, thinking the humans were finished. Inside, in the dark and cold, 200 souls began to plan. They would fight on, not for victory at first, just to survive. And maybe, just maybe, to hurt the enemy enough to make them regret ever coming here. The Endurance hung in space like a dying giant, but her heart still beat. The dark inside the broken Endurance felt thick and heavy. Red emergency lights glowed weak along the floors. Air tasted like metal and smoke. Most of the ship was dead, cold, silent, full of floating bits of junk. But in the hidden parts, people still moved. About 200 crew members survived. They hid in small groups. Some crouched in engineering tunnels. Others stayed in sealed cargo holds or behind locked doors on lower decks. No one spoke loud. They whispered. They listened. Every sound from the aliens outside made hearts beat faster. Robert Klein led the biggest group in the engine room. His left arm hung in a sling made from torn shirt. The pain was sharp, but he pushed it down. He had work to do. With 3 other engineers, Mike Torres, Jenny Ruiz, and young Carlos Vega, they crawled through tight access panels. They found a backup power cell that still had some charge. Robert connected wires with one hand. The cell hummed to life. "Life support on decks 9 and 10 now has air," Robert said quietly into his comm. "Not much, but enough. We can breathe." Lisa Morales moved through the shadows like a ghost. She carried a small tablet that showed weak signals from other teams. Her face had dried blood on one cheek, but her eyes stayed sharp. She found a group of 10 people in a maintenance bay. They included Daniel Lee, who still had his navigator's quick mind, and Amanda Foster, who clutched a heavy wrench like a club. We need weapons, Lisa told them. Real ones, not just tools. Amanda nodded. I know where the armory is. Half the door is gone, but some rifles might still be inside. They moved careful. The ship groaned now and then, as alien salvage ships pulled at the hull. Metal scraped metal outside. Sometimes a loud clang echoed through the corridors. The Vexari were taking pieces. Guns, engines, anything shiny. Karen Brooks and her Marines waited near a breach point. 5 aliens had cut through a hull door on Deck 6. Tall, thin bugs with hard shells and clicking legs. They carried long energy spears. Karen's team, 4 Marines with her, hid behind a corner. They had only pistols and 1 grenade left. Karen raised her hand. Wait. The aliens stepped in, scanning with red lights on their helmets. One pointed at a dead human body on the floor. They laughed. A wet, buzzing sound. Karen squeezed the trigger. Her pistol barked. The first alien's head exploded in green fluid. The others turned fast. Energy spears lit up. The Marines fired back. Bullets sparked off shells, but some found weak spots. 1 alien fell. Another charged. Karen rolled aside and threw her grenade. It bounced once, then boom. The blast threw 2 aliens against the wall. Chunks of shell flew everywhere. Clear, Karen shouted. Her team dragged the bodies inside and sealed the hole with emergency foam. They took the alien spears. Heavy, but they worked. Green energy could cut through anything. Word spread fast on the hidden comms. We got their weapons now. Captain John Harris stayed in a small sealed office near the old cargo hold. His side bled through bandages. Every breath hurt. Lisa came to check on him every hour. She brought water and news. How many dead? John asked. Too many, Lisa said soft. But we're still here. John looked at the cracked wall. We hit them back. Hard. Make them think twice. On the second day, the first real plan came together. Robert's team built something new. They took plasma cutters from repair kits. They turned them into short rifles. The cutters shot hot blue fire instead of cutting slow. Not perfect, but deadly up close. They made 10 of them. Amanda took one and tested it in an empty room. The beam sliced through a metal crate like butter. She smiled for the first time since the attack. We can fight now, she said. Karen wanted more. She picked 5 Marines and crept toward an alien boarding pod still stuck to the hull. The pod was long and black, like a giant thorn. Inside, aliens worked to pull cables and parts. Karen's team used zero gravity to float close. They planted small charges, made from fuel cells and wire, on the outside of the pod. Then, they pulled back. Fire in the hole, Karen whispered. The charges went off. A bright flash. The pod tore open. Air rushed out. Aliens inside screamed as they got sucked into space. 12 of them died in seconds. The explosion shook the whole ship section. The Vexari noticed. Their salvage ship stopped. Drones buzzed out, small flying eyes with red scanners. They searched the wreck. Lights swept dark halls. The humans went still. No movement. No sound. One drone flew close to Robert's group. It hovered. Red light passed over their hiding spot. Robert held his breath. The drone turned away. It had not seen them. But the aliens got angry. More boarding parties came. Bugs with spears and shields. They spread out, looking for survivors. The humans fought smart. They did not stand in open halls. They used traps. Daniel Lee knew every corner of the ship. He led a team to seal a corridor with a heavy door. When aliens chased them, the door slammed shut. Then they vented the air out. The aliens clawed at helmets, but no oxygen came. They died quiet. Another group rigged lights to flicker false signals. The aliens thought humans were in one place. They rushed there. Humans waited on both sides. Plasma cutters fired. Green blood sprayed walls. By the end of day 3, the score was clear. The Vexari lost almost 50 soldiers. The humans lost 20 more crew. But the aliens looked unsure now. Their commanders talked on open channels. The humans listened with stolen devices. The bugs argued. Some wanted to leave the wreck. Others said, "Finish it." John heard the talk through Lisa's tablet. He smiled weak. Good. They're scared. In the dark, people shared food packs, 1 cracker each, water from small tubes. They told stories to stay awake. Mike Torres talked about his dog back on Earth. Jenny Ruiz sang a soft song her mother taught her. Carlos Vega drew pictures on the wall with burnt stick figures fighting bugs. Lisa went to John again. "We can keep this up," she said, "but we need a bigger hit soon." John nodded slow. "We will, one step at a time. Make them bleed, make them doubt." Outside, the alien flagship waited. Its lights glowed cold. It thought the Endurance was just scrap now. But inside, in the black broken ship, humans planned. They built. They waited. 200 souls. Tired. Hurt. Hungry. But not beaten. They would fight on. The second sun rose over the red prison planet. Thin light cut through the dust. Inside the prison, things had changed. More than 8,000 humans were already free. They hid in dark tunnels, empty storage rooms, and behind broken machines. They held weapons taken from dead guards. Their eyes looked different now. Not scared. Angry. Ready. The 10 soldiers moved fast but careful. They knew time was short. The Krelliks had started to notice. Missing workers, quiet guard posts, radios that went silent. Guards shouted more. Patrols doubled. Drones flew lower and faster. Sophia sat in a hidden corner with her small screen. She watched alien signals. She saw the pattern. The Krelliks were waking up. She turned to Daniel. "They know something is wrong. They will lock everything down soon. We have maybe 2 hours." Daniel nodded. "Then we use those 2 hours. Wake the rest." They split again. Smaller groups. Faster work. Olivia went back into the vents. She crawled through narrow metal tubes. Hot air pushed against her face. She reached the main power hub. She placed more tiny devices. These would cut lights and open doors when the time came. She whispered into her radio. "Ready on my end." Jacob found a new high spot. A broken tower near the center pit. He lay flat, his rifle pointed down. He watched the biggest work area. Thousands of humans still dug there under bright lights. Guards walked among them. Whips cracked. Jacob picked his targets. The ones with radios. The ones who looked like leaders. He waited. Kevin and Brandon worked together again. They reached a control room, high above the pits. Brandon hacked deeper this time. He found the main security system. He changed codes. He made false alarms in other parts of the prison. Guards ran to empty halls. They left their posts. Kevin set bigger charges. These would bring down walls and bridges. "For the big moment," he said. Daniel, Ryan, Tyler, Ethan, and Nathan moved through the lower levels. They freed more groups, one by one, quietly. A family of 4, a team of miners, an old man who could barely walk. Nathan helped him, gave him water. The old man grabbed Daniel's arm. "Thank you," he said with tears. "We thought no one was coming." Daniel looked at him. "We always come." The humans started to organize themselves. They formed small teams. They passed weapons. They shared food from guard packs. They told each other stories in low voices. 10 soldiers. Just 10. They moved like ghosts. Word spread fast. In every pit, in every dark corner, people whispered the same thing. "They are here. They are real. Hold on." Then it happened. A loud siren screamed across the prison. Red lights flashed. The Krelliks had found too many empty spots. They locked down sections. Big metal doors slammed shut. Guards poured out of barracks. Thousands of them. armored, angry. They carried heavy rifles and energy shields. Vexar, the commander, stood in his high tower. He looked at screens showing empty work lines. His glowing eyes narrowed. "Primitives," he growled. "They dare fight back? Send the legions. Crush them all." Drones swarmed. Armored walkers stomped forward. The prison turned into a war zone. But the humans were ready. Sophia's voice came over the radio. "Now." She hit a command. Lights died in half the prison. Darkness fell like a blanket. Guards stopped, confused. Then doors opened where they should have stayed closed. Turrets turned. They fired on their own troops. Chaos started. In the main pit, humans rose. They had tools. They had rifles. They had anger built up for months. They charged the guards. Picks swung. Blades flashed. A young woman named Lisa grabbed a whip from a fallen guard. The guard fell screaming. Jacob fired from his tower. One shot. Two. Three. Guards dropped. Clean, fast, no waste. Tyler stood tall in the center. His big gun roared. It punched through armor like paper. He laughed once. "Come on," he shouted. Humans cheered around him. Ethan moved like lightning. He jumped on a guard. Knife in, out. Next one. He cleared a path for more people to escape. Daniel and Ryan fought side by side. They pushed forward. They shot guards. They pulled humans out of the line of fire. Ryan took a hit to his shoulder, a burn from an energy bolt. He kept going. "Not today," he said through teeth. Nathan ran between groups. He patched wounds. He gave shots for pain. He dragged a boy to safety when a drone exploded nearby. Kevin waited. His charges were set. He watched the big bridge that connected the pits to the command area. When a line of armored Krelliks crossed it, he pressed the button. The bridge shook. Metal screamed. Guards tumbled into the deep pit below. Olivia appeared from a side tunnel. She had shut down the drone control. Hundreds of drones crashed to the ground. Sparks flew. Humans cheered louder. The Krelliks' lines broke. They were not ready for this. They thought humans were weak, soft, easy to control. But these humans fought like they had nothing left to lose, and they had everything to gain. More prisoners joined the fight. Thousands now. They took guard stations. They climbed towers. They turned alien guns on their masters. The prison became a storm of noise and light. Explosions, shouts, the sound of metal hitting flesh. Vexar watched from his tower. His officers ran around him. "Impossible," one said. "They are primitives." Vexar slammed his fist on the table. "They are vermin. Send everything. Kill them all." But it was too late. The 10 soldiers met in the middle of the chaos. They stood back to back for a moment, breathing hard, covered in dust and blood. Not all theirs. Daniel looked around, saw the humans fighting, saw them winning. He spoke into his radio. "We have them. The awakening is here." Ryan wiped sweat from his face. "They're not just following us anymore. They're leading." Tyler grinned. "Good, more hands on deck." Sophia's voice came again. "Shields are down in sectors 3 and 4. We can move to the command spire soon." Daniel nodded. "Then that's next. We take the head." The humans kept pushing. They drove the Krelliks back, step by step, pit by pit. The guards who once cracked whips now ran. Some dropped their weapons. Some begged in their strange language. No one listened. In one corner, a group of freed miners found Vexar's personal guard. They fought hard. They won. They took the guard's heavy armor and used it against the rest. The prison was burning now. Fires from explosions. Smoke rose thick and black. The red sky turned darker. The Krelliks had thought they captured easy slaves. They had captured a sleeping giant, and the giant had woken up. The 10 soldiers moved forward again, toward the tall spire in the center, toward the end. They were tired, wounded, but they did not stop, because home was waiting, and no one gets left behind. The cold in the Endurance had turned sharp. It bit through thin clothes and made fingers stiff. Air recyclers wheezed like old men. Power levels dropped to almost nothing. Lights flickered and died for long minutes before coming back weak. The survivors moved slower now. Every step cost energy they did not have. Day 7 started with bad news. Karen Brooks found a working alien comm device in the hangar wreckage. She patched it to their system. The Vexari talked openly. They knew the humans still lived. They called the resistance a pest problem. Their elite troops would finish it today. Karen shared the words with Lisa Morales. "They're coming hard," Karen said. "Full force. They want engineering, and the bridge remains." Lisa nodded. Her burns had scabbed over, but pain still showed in her eyes. "Then we give them something they don't expect." The big plan formed in the cargo hold. Captain John Harris listened from his spot against the wall. His face looked gray. Blood still seeped from his side, but his mind stayed clear. "We need their flagship," he said slow. "Hit it where it hurts." Robert Klein explained what they learned from the captured officer. The Vexari flagship had new reactor shielding after a repair. One weak panel remained. A big enough explosion nearby could overload it. Chain reaction, maybe even take the whole ship. Robert had an idea. Use the Endurance's last fusion core. Overload it on purpose. Turn it into a bomb. Link it with capacitors from the secondary battery. Add fuel cells for extra kick. The blast would tear the ship apart and send fire through any attached alien craft. "It can work," Robert said. "But we need to get the core to the outer hull, near their docking clamps, and someone has to stay to trigger it." John looked at him. "How long to build?" 2 days if we push," Robert answered. 1 if we don't sleep." Robert led the engineers. They dragged heavy parts through dark corridors. Zero gravity helped, but cables snagged and tools slipped. Mike Torres, Jenny Ruiz, and Carlos Vega worked beside him. They rerouted power lines with shaking hands. Sparks burned skin. No one complained. Lisa Morales took charge of diversions. She needed to pull enemy troops away from the core team. She picked Amanda Foster and Daniel Lee for help. They planned small attacks, hit and run, make noise, draw bugs in. Karen Brooks guarded the paths. Her Marines set traps along the way, charges in walls, sealed doors with timers, anything to slow the enemy. Work moved slow but steady. On day 7 afternoon, the Vexari launched their push. Dozens of shock troops poured in. They used gas again. Yellow clouds rolled through halls. Humans tied wet cloths over faces. Eyes burned. Coughs tore throats. Karen's team held a main corridor. 10 Marines against 30 aliens. Plasma cutters flashed. Alien spears answered. A purple bolt hit Karen in the shoulder. She dropped but kept firing. "Fall back," she yelled. Her people pulled her to cover. They collapsed the passage behind them with a charge. Dust and metal fell. The aliens stopped. But more came from other breaches. Amanda led her diversion. She and 5 others ran through a service deck. They fired at alien patrols, then vanished into vents. The bugs chased. Amanda sealed a section and vented it. Screams echoed as air left. Daniel guided another group. He used his knowledge of the ship. "This way, they can't fit in pairs here." Narrow tunnels slowed the tall aliens. Humans picked them off one by one. By night on day 7, the bomb parts sat ready in engineering. Robert wiped sweat. His bad arm throbbed. "Half done," he said. "Capacitors next." Day 8 brought worse. The Vexari flooded more sections. They cut power to whole decks. Lights died. Darkness became total in places. People used handlights that grew weak. Food ended, hunger clawed bellies, water ran dry in tubes, people licked condensation from walls, injuries got bad, a Marine lost a leg to a spear, Jenny Ruiz stitched wounds with thread from uniforms. No medicine left, painkillers gone, people bit cloth to keep from screaming. Lisa checked on John, he could barely talk. "Tell them keep going," he whispered. She squeezed his hand. "We will." The core team worked faster. They chained capacitors in a long row, wired them to the fusion core, added a timer and a remote trigger. Robert tested it small. A spark jumped. It worked. "We need to move it," he said, "to the hull near their clamps." The path was long, through enemy territory. Lisa organized the move. She led the diversion herself. "We hit their hangar again. Big noise. Pull them off the path." She took 20 people. They charged an alien-held bay. Plasma and bullets flew. Humans died too. Lisa took a hit to the leg. She limped, but kept going. "Push!" she shouted. The noise worked. Vexari troops rushed to the hangar. Robert's team moved the bomb. They floated it on a sled of scrap. Heavy, slow. Carlos pushed from behind. Mike pulled cables clear. Halfway, an alien patrol found them. 3 bugs stepped out. Robert raised his cutter, fired. One fell. The other shot back. Purple fire grazed Mike's arm. He yelled but kept pulling. Daniel appeared from a side vent. He dropped down and finished the last bug. "Clear. Move." They reached the outer hull chamber, a big room with viewports. Outside, the alien flagship loomed close. Its claws gripped the Endurance. Docking tubes pumped. Robert set the bomb against the hull. He wired the final connections. Sweat dripped into his eyes. Timer set for 30 minutes. Or remote, your call. Lisa arrived limping. Blood soaked her pants. "Captain wants to see it done." They dragged John on a stretcher. Crew carried him careful. He looked small now, but his eyes burned. John looked at the bomb, then at his people. "You did good," he said, voice weak. "All of you. Earth will hear this story." He turned to Lisa. "Give the order when ready." The Vexari pressed harder. Alarms screamed. Gas filled halls. Troops stormed everywhere. Karen held one last stand. She and her remaining Marines blocked a key corridor. Aliens came wave after wave. Karen fired until her cutter overheated. Then she used an alien spear. She killed 5 more before a bolt took her in the chest. She fell smiling. "See you in hell, bugs." Her last act triggered grenades. The passage collapsed, blocked for hours. Back at the core chamber, Robert armed the device. Ready. Lisa looked at the faces around her. Tired, hurt, but steady. "Evacuate," she said. "To the pods. Lifeboats. Now." People moved. Some ran. Others helped the wounded. John stayed. "I'll trigger it," he said. Lisa shook her head. "We do it together." The timer started. 30 minutes. Outside, the alien fleet waited. They thought the end came soon. Inside, humans ran for escape. Pods hissed open. Lifeboats detached quiet. The bomb ticked down. The Endurance waited for its final moment. The timer on the bomb ticked down. 30 minutes. The fusion core hummed low, like a sleeping beast waking up. In the outer hull chamber, red emergency lights pulsed slow. Shadows danced on metal walls. The air felt thick and hot from the machines. Lisa Morales stood by the device. Her leg throbbed where the purple bolt had burned it. Blood dried dark on her pants. She looked at the faces around her. Robert Klein leaned on a console, his bad arm limp. Daniel Lee checked the remote trigger one last time. Amanda Foster held her plasma cutter tight, ready to cover their escape. A few other crew members waited. Jenny Ruiz, Carlos Vega, and 3 Marines who had made it through the last fight. Captain John Harris lay on the stretcher. His breathing came shallow. Sweat covered his face. He looked at Lisa. "Go," he said. "Get them out. I'll stay. Trigger it when the time comes." Lisa shook her head. "No, sir. We finish this together." Stubborn as always. The comms crackled. Karen Brooks's voice came through one last time, weak but clear. "Corridor collapsed. They can't get past. For now. Good luck." Then silence. Everyone knew what it meant. Karen and her last Marines had bought them time with their lives. "Pods are ready," Daniel said. "Lifeboats on deck 10. 20 can fit. The rest in escape capsules." Lisa nodded. "Move, fast, no waiting." People ran, feet echoed in the dark halls. Some carried wounded friends, others limped alone. They passed broken doors and floating debris. Gas still lingered in places. Coughs followed them. The Vexari knew something was wrong. Their sensors picked up movement. They sent their biggest wave yet. Hundreds of shock troops. They poured through every breach. Purple energy lit up corridors like lightning. Bugs shouted in their buzzing language. They wanted the humans dead before any escape. In the main halls, small groups fought to cover the retreat. Amanda stayed back with 5 others. They held a junction. "Go!" she yelled to the runners. She fired her cutter. Blue beams sliced through alien shells. One bug charged. Amanda met it head-on. She drove the hot blade into its chest. Green blood hissed on her hands. Another alien shot her in the side. She fell, but kept firing until her team pulled her away. "Pods!" Daniel shouted. Lifeboats hissed open. People climbed in. Doors sealed. Small thrusters pushed them free into space. One by one, the capsules drifted away from the wreck. Back in the chamber, the timer showed 15 minutes left. Robert checked the wires again. "It's stable. Remote will work from outside." Lisa helped John sit up. He took the remote from Daniel. His fingers shook. "I give the order," he said. The Vexari reached the outer decks. Explosions rocked the ship as they blasted doors. Metal screamed. The bugs found the path to the chamber. Lisa, Robert, Daniel, and Jenny stayed to guard. They barricaded the entrance with heavy parts. They fired through gaps. Plasma met purple fire. An alien grenade rolled in. Carlos kicked it back. It exploded in the hall. Shrapnel pinged off walls. 10 minutes left. The bugs pushed harder. They broke through. 5 aliens charged in, tall, armored, eyes glowing red. Robert fired first. His cutter cut one in half. Daniel took another with a stolen spear. Jenny threw a toolbox. It hit an alien helmet and cracked it. Lisa shot the last 2. Green blood pooled on the floor. But more came. 5 minutes. John looked at them. "Get out. Now." Lisa hesitated. "Sir?" "Go," John said sharp. "That's an order." They ran. Robert helped Jenny. Daniel covered the rear. They reached the last lifeboat. Doors opened. They climbed in. John stayed alone. He held the remote. The timer showed 2 minutes. He pressed the button to override. The bomb armed fully. The Vexari flooded the chamber. Dozens of them. They saw the core. They saw John. One raised a spear. John smiled. "See you in hell." He pressed the trigger. The fusion core woke up. It glowed white-hot. Capacitors screamed. The blast started small, then grew. Fire raced through the hull. Metal tore like paper. The explosion punched out toward the alien flagship. Docking clamps snapped. The chain reaction hit the weak reactor panel. The Vexari flagship shuddered. Lights flickered across its hull. Secondary explosions bloomed along its sides. Engines died. Fuel lines ignited. The big ship listed to one side. Smaller craft around it caught fire too. Salvage ships spun away damaged. The armada broke apart in panic. Inside the last lifeboat, Lisa watched through the small window. The Endurance vanished in white fire. Pieces flew out like stars. The alien flagship burned. Its claws melted. It drifted dead. The boat shook from the shockwave. Then quiet. Lisa sat back. Tears ran down her face. Not from sadness alone. From pride. Robert stared at the empty space where the ship had been. He did it. Daniel sent a signal. A simple message on all open channels. This is the crew of the Endurance. We fought for 9 days. The flagship is gone, but we are not. Humans endure. The message repeated. It reached far. Other human ships would hear it one day. Alien empires would hear it too. The lifeboats floated away. Small lights in the dark. Inside, people held each other. Some cried. Some stared silent. Jenny sang a soft song. Carlos drew a picture on the wall. A stick-figure ship with a big explosion. They had no food left, no water. Air would last a few days, but rescue might come. Or it might not. It did not matter right then. They had fought. They had hurt the enemy bad. They had shown that a broken ship with broken people could still win something. 9 days. The Endurance was dust now, but her story lived. In the black of space, the survivors drifted. Tired, hurt, alive, and unbroken.